Lord Swislington says you're wonderful.
Welcome, one and all, to Superhero Stuff You Should Know. I'm BenMan89, and with me, as usual,
Andrew Burt's Ward Bush.
indeed, and what award it is.
What award he has.
This month brings the 33rd anniversary of Batman 89. So this month we will be bringing you episodes related to Batman 89, as well as my coverage of the Batman 89 issue 5, releasing right before the release of issue 6, which will be at the end of the month. It's coming, everybody. I know people have asked me, when's the issue 5 analysis? We've been very busy with other episodes, and because of the fact that it seems like it's like 3 or 4 months in between each issue, I wasn't in such a hurry this time. So it'll be coming. I promise. This is also the 30th anniversary of the sequel, Batman Returns, this month. So some of these episodes will kind of tie into Batman Returns in some way. But we do have some multiple related Batman Returns tie-ins throughout the year. We had our Unmade Catwoman episode in February, and we'll have a lot more to come regarding the different versions of Batman Returns in the development process. So stay tuned for that. But the first for this month is an unmade script treatment that I've mentioned many times before. We've sort of notoriously called it the one where Thomas Wayne gets killed in a bat suit. But we've briefly covered it before. It is the unmade 1985 treatment for Batman, written by Julie Hickson and co-written by Tim Burton himself. So
That's,
for those,
I mean, no offense to everybody else involved, but that's the most interesting part of this whole deal.
Yes.
Is Burton wrote it, co-wrote it.
Yeah.
So
yes.
Yeah.
And also has concept art for it, which you can see in our thumbnail. So, and you'll be seeing this as well. In the video version, we'll be showing you more and more concept art that Tim Burton did for this specific version of the script. So,
Okay.
So for those who are familiar with the scripts and episodes of ours, this is after the Tom Mankiewicz script, the Batman script from 1982 we talked about. But it is before Steve Englehart's, and it is before the comedy masterpiece that is Bob Kane's The Return of Batman.
Oh, man. One of the best. One of the greats.
10-plus script. So
10-plus script on that one.
I know I covered a little bit of this back when we did this old episode of the Batman script from 1982. I was mainly going over my notes from years before that I had published on BatmanOnline.com, and I had not reread the script treatment in a long time. I didn't even have my copy anymore of that. Luckily, a fan of the podcast, Derek O, helped send me a copy to reread it, and now we're doing an episode focused on it. So here we are. Thank you, Derek, for that.
That's awesome.
Yep. We have some of the best fans. Sending us scripts and stuff. It's all great. One of the most notorious comments that's followed Tim Burton around the years is this quote. I don't know, you might have heard about this too from Kevin Smith. It's Tim Burton saying, quote, "Anybody who knows me knows I would never read a comic book." From Tim Burton.
Great.
Now, this is through Kevin Smith, by the way. I don't remember if Tim Burton was directly quoted as this or if Kevin Smith said that that's what Burton said. But it is a response to Kevin Smith back around the not late 90s, the early 2000s is when Tim Burton remade the Planet of the Apes.
Okay.
This is in between the classic era with Charlton Heston and Roddy McDowall, but before the big era of like the Matt Reeves, Andy Serkis one.
Yeah, there was like one straggler right there in the middle, and it wasn't great.
Yeah, it was Tim Burton's Planet of the Apes with Mark Wahlberg. And
at least it was like all practical though, or mostly practical at that time.
That was the most impressive part. Yeah.
Yeah.
But Kevin Smith kind of jokingly accused Burton of ripping off a comic book that he wrote when it came to the ending of Planet of the Apes. I think maybe it's the image of the Abe Lincoln Memorial having the ape face in it or something like that. Might have been from there. So Kevin Smith sort of jokingly accused that, and apparently Burton responded with this quote saying, "Anybody who knows me knows I would never read a comic book." And I think the full quote includes, "Much less read anything written by Kevin Smith."
Oh, so this is more of a dig at Kevin Smith. They had like a little rivalry.
Yeah.
Little tiff.
This is years after Burton threw out Kevin Smith's script for Superman before starting on his own.
Oh, so they've had that for a while. Yeah, I mean, aren't there like quotes on the Arkham Asylum comic book that Tim Burton's like, this is an awesome comic book or some shit like that?
That's exactly where I was going to go to. So on the cover of The Killing Joke, he says, "I love The Killing Joke. It's my favorite. It's the first comic I've ever loved." So
Burton's just trying to dunk on Kevin Smith.
Yeah.
There.
So I think, and also Michael Uslan, the producer, the basically the godfather of Batman cinema, is on record saying he gave Tim Burton several comics, several eras, including the Cane and Finger era, including the Steve Englehart, Marshall Rogers era of Strange Apparitions that we've covered on this. He gave him several comics, and Burton himself has praised The Killing Joke, as we see here. So I believe that, again, if it's basically through Kevin Smith, then Smith is probably either misremembering it or highlighting the part more that was against him. If it's a direct quote, then maybe it's because it's obviously not true. Of course he's read comic books. He worked on fucking Batman for 2 movies, and he had source material that he read on, and he has this quote on the cover of Killing.
Yeah, this is just them fighting, I think.
Yeah. I think the full context is like, I would never read anything you wrote, was kind of a thing. Which is a shame because, we're fans of both people in their own ways.
Yeah.
But it's just there's something going on that. And I think the reason why I bring this up right at the top, because this says, like, what the hell does this have to do with 1985?
Right.
When the Batman script was written, this treatment, is that a lot of people use this quote from Burton, not the Killing Joke one, but this other one, in terms of, like, I would never read a comic. They kind of use that to be like, yeah, Burton never read the comics. He never looked at the source material. He just kind of liked certain aspects, and that's it. And I feel like this treatment really puts this to the test, because this actually has his name on it.
Right.
So let's go into what this is. If the treatment provides evidence of anything, it shows that somebody did their research on this. So it's either Tim Burton or it's with the co-writer Julie Hickson. So the treatment with the cover page says, written by Julie Hickson, based on ideas and concepts by Tim Burton and Julie Hickson, dated October 21st, 1985. Now, next question. Who is Julie Hickson? We know who Tim Burton is. Who is Julie Hickson? So Hickson is a collaborator with Burton's in the 80s, and she helped him as a writer-producer. He did a TV special in the 80s on Hansel and Gretel, which I have not seen, but he also did a short film that became the original Frankenweenie.
Okay.
So Hickson was a producer on that, and she basically helped him in the early point of his career, and at this point, they're collaborators. There's also reports of her being Tim Burton's girlfriend at the time, but I haven't really found anything to verify that outside of just IMDb trivia.
Okay.
And she also wrote Homeward Bound 2, Lost in San Francisco.
Oh, shit. I saw that several times on VHS, both of them.
Yes. So maybe I should have led with that one instead.
Fucking Homeward Bound, man. That's one of those movies that, like, for me and our generation, we're not too far apart, Ben. Yeah. I mean, only slightly, but like it's like the VHS movie, because it's that, to me anyway, because that's the movie that everybody had on VHS, but we were old enough by the time DVD came out, no one bought it on DVD. Like, it's preserved in VHS land for me. Homeward Bound, but yeah,
it's definitely a 90s VHS movie.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So Hickson wrote that many years after this, but this is sort of the earlier days. And I first read about this treatment in an article by Alan Jones that's featured in the book that I'm pulling up here. Tim Burton, A Child's Garden of Nightmares is the title. Great title.
Oh my God, this is so emo, man. Or he's pre-emo kind of Burton, he's goth, I guess you could say. Emo didn't really come out, well, that's debatable. But anyway, he's pre-emo.
Yeah, exactly. So the Child's Garden of Nightmares book is kind of a compilation of different articles. And so there's this article by Alan Jones, and I read this as a kid, and it says, like, Julie Hickson wrote a treatment. I'm like, who's Julie Hickson? Where's this treatment? I want to read it. And then now here we are. So the article claimed it was 30 pages. I have claimed in a previous episode, through faulty memory, it was 80 pages. Turns out the article and me, we were both wrong. It's 43
30?
pages.
That's 43.
It's 43 pages, so we were both wrong on here. I overshot. Alan Jones, who wrote the article, he undershot. So
okay.
Anyway, just to recap then, 43 pages written by Julie Hickson, but based off of ideas and concepts by Burton. And we are kind of examining whether or not there's evidence in here that Burton actually went through a lot of the source material, or even more source material than just the Killing Joke, which literally has his name on it on the cover of the deluxe edition.
Right.
So we will basically dive into the script as well as show some of the concept art that Burton did for this. So one thing that's interesting, this treatment is formally split into 3 acts. A lot of scripts sort of have the 3-act structure inherently in it, but they don't necessarily have chapters split up like this. Kind of like, think of it like Zack Snyder's Justice League, where it was kind of split into chapters. So first act is called Loss. So here we go.
Okay.
The opening says, a black screen. Suddenly the edges erupt into brightly curling flames, framing the image with a vivid, sinister glow. So already, if that sounds familiar, the image that we're showing right now is the opening of The Dark Knight, which showed, went from a black screen to sort of blue flames and stuff. So
right.
That's cool. And then this would then transition into a close-up of the Joker laughing directly at us. And here is concept art of Tim Burton's Joker, which looks very familiar, not necessarily to Jack Nicholson, but to Beetlejuice, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, the stripes.
Yeah. So what we're looking at right now for the RO listeners is the concept art for the Joker that looks very different. He has red stripes. It's almost like candy cane design for his jacket on that, and then the rest is kind of matching what is in the treatment. So I'll read that. He has shock white skin, radioactive green hair standing on end as if permanently electrified. So that explains the sort of the long, spiky-ish hair, sort of Beetlejuice-like on this concept art. And it says red lips slashing into a chin so pointed it's like a demented exaggeration of a clown face. So very different from what we ended up getting. A lot more exaggerated, a lot more Beetlejuice-like, and a little less Nick Dudman, who did the actual makeup on.
Oh, nice.
So
it's always like his doodles are like, it's simple looking, but it's like his style is so. He already had so much style, I guess he was. Yeah. He's definitely one of those kids that was like always drawing, probably like constantly.
It has the feeling of like a kid's drawing, but like something twisted about it.
Yeah, there's humor in it, but it's also, of course, dark. There's always humor in Burton's stuff, but there's always something macabre as well, right? Mm-hmm.
And there definitely is with this Beetlejuice looking Joker.
Yeah.
I thought that was an interesting start for this. So it's literally just opening on the Joker laughing and then cutting to Gotham City. So here's how Burton describes, or Burton and Hickson, I should say it's Hickson since it's written by Julie Hickson, but Gotham City is described as a little New York, a little Max Fleischer, as we can see here.
Oh, that's awesome, dude.
Yeah. So that's a cool callback. And then it says a lot of Fritz Lang's Metropolis, which is what we see on the right. So ironic, because as we've brought up before in a previous episode, Anton Furst, who did the production design, he claimed he didn't take any inspiration from the film Metropolis. He hadn't even seen it in years when he was working on Batman '89, but yet still people had comparisons, and I think they're kind of unavoidable when you're doing like your own made-up city in a movie. Like it's going to happen.
Yeah.
It says aerial tramways loop through the city like sci-fi dreams, which is kind of similar to what we see here in Metropolis. Fantastic Langium architecture stretches skyward. Bright blimps slide by. We could have had blimps in the Burton.
Dude, the blimp would have been cool, man. I don't know why. It's because it's the animated thing, right? Like
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just
the animated series brought to life.
There's something inherently Art Deco about blimps, maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, well, you can make them Art Deco very easily.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just the feeling of it being there is cool.
Yeah.
It says traffic squirms through the lacy thoroughfares like a funeral march of fireflies. I like Hickson's description here.
It's good.
Yeah. We then, of course, we gotta go into the origin, but let's remember it's 1985. We hadn't formally seen Bruce's parents get shot in front of him yet, and nowadays people are sick of it. But at the time, it was kind of something you had to do. So here, we've covered this before, but just to recap, Thomas Wayne is a politician. Kind of carrying over from the Tom Mankiewicz script, but he is sort of the quote counsel for the Senate-appointed subcommittee on investigation into racketeering. So a lot more complicated than just him trying to run for councilman. And he's going after mob boss Rupert Thorne, who we might remember from the Strange Apparitions arc. So once again, the Englehart and Rogers arc is very influential here. So Thorne's a big-time mob boss, and he's already being accused of using unions for legal profit, and the big crusader against him is Thomas Wayne. And so one of the things I think is interesting about this treatment is you have Bruce Wayne's father already being somebody who is so publicly against crime, who's already a crime fighter in some way.
Yeah, I like that too. I think that's cool.
Yeah, so it's almost like he's carrying on the Wayne family legacy, and I don't remember anything in here mentioning the doctor aspect of it.
Even if he's a doctor, there's something for Bruce to take away from that, because obviously helping people, helping criminals, even in that case with Falcone, and like the aspect of not caring about what the Wayne Company, Wayne Enterprises is doing at large, and doing his own thing, his own mission, combating evil in his own way, evil being disease, I guess. But you know what I mean? Like either one works, which is great.
I think one of the better parts of The Long Halloween is when he described his fighting or his combat to be similar to how his father described surgery. In terms of like,
that's great, man.
You cut out the most toxic part first, and then it cuts to Batman just like punching out Poison Ivy, like that stuff. I like that.
Yeah, that is cool. I mean, them mentioning the Hippocratic Oath in the movie too, I thought was great. Like, I'd love more stuff like that in the movies. It's always good.
It's great, yeah. So we do meet a young 10-year-old Bruce Wayne in the audience, watching his father with awe, and we see the bond with him and his family. You know, this is years before Batman Begins, so they really want to establish this bond with him and his father. He and Thomas sort of race each other up the stairs. They both fall down the stairs, and they're laughing together. You know, just happy times that we know are going to be ripped from him almost immediately from this. And Thomas Wayne has a heart-to-heart with Alfred, who's there, of course, and Thomas worries about, I'm this public figure going up against organized crime. I'm worried about what's going to happen with me and my family. And so he makes Alfred promise to take care of Bruce should anything happen to him. Which, again, a very smart beat, I think, on Julie Hickson and Tim Burton's part here, in terms of establishing, like, why is this all entrusted on the butler? Why is this all entrusted on the servant at the end of the day?
Right.
Smart stuff. We then meet Martha Wayne, and the family has dinner, but the dinner gets interrupted by a phone call, which Thomas picks up, and we can overhear that it's something threatening, and he yells at them to not call at him again. So clearly Rupert Thorne is escalating the situation. So to distract Bruce, Martha has him change into costume because they're going to a costume party. So, of course, to fit the theme, Thomas Wayne is dressed in a batsuit. So
okay, there we go.
We have our first major lift from the older comics. This was in the 1950s comic, The First Batman, which showed Thomas Wayne once wore a batsuit looking very similar to the original Bill Finger designed batsuit from the 1939 comics. And he once wore that to a costume party. And, of course, I feel like that was very influential on the Flashpoint Batman decision. It was just like, it's his father.
I thought that all that came out, but like at that time with the Flashpoint stuff, it's interesting that this DNA is traced way, way back.
Yeah, and it goes through Bill Finger. Bill Finger wrote this.
So the OG himself.
Yeah.
It's interesting. By the way, real quick for the listeners out there, let us know, because you don't read a whole lot of like Earth 2 or whatever Thomas Wayne Batman, right? Do you, Ben? You do? You have?
Oh, have in terms of the Flashpoint stuff?
As far as comics in general. I want to know if there's any comics out there where he's like fucked up a criminal, but then he's actually doing surgery in the batsuit because he's still a doctor. You know what I mean? Like, that would be kind of cool, actually, because something Bruce doesn't do that much, right?
That honestly sounds more interesting than what I've seen of Flashpoint Batman.
I want to see him do some doctor shit in the batsuit. I think that would be, because they always like show him shooting guns and shit, and I'm like, that's kind of boring to me. Like, play the doctor angle more. It's the main difference between him and Bruce.
Yeah. No, I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Thomas Wayne is dressed up as a bat. Martha's dressed up as a fairy, as we can see here in the comic panels. However, unlike the original comic, Bruce is dressed as a Harlequin.
Oh, wow.
Interesting choice.
This is before the BTAS.
Yeah, this is before Harley Quinn, too.
Yeah.
For some reason, he's dressed up like a little clown. So, with all the costumes, Martha says, like, to Bruce's chagrin, Martha's like, Alfred, take a home movie of us on a Super 8 camera. So we have like this home movie moment of the family together in costume and stuff, which becomes important later. So the Waynes then in costume go to a costume party, which leads them to then go to an opera house, which I'm sure is interesting because it's full of people dressed up in costumes. And of course, the opera they're watching is Die Fledermaus. Again, the Bat. Again, foreshadowing David Goyer and Christopher Nolan's decision to have them go to the opera in Batman Begins. Though, we have the costume party being mixed up into it. And young Bruce is like, what's this opera about again? Some guy who changes into a bat? Is he like Dracula? So he's already curious about this idea.
He's more like Zorro, son. I'm confused, Papa.
He's like the Shadow. Who?
Who the hell is that?
So after they leave the theater, the Wayne family leaves, but they have two stalkers following them. An image that we would actually see in Batman 89. And it's not really explained who they are, but presumably they are people who are working for Rupert Thorne, who are kind of figuring out where they are so that they can set up the Wayne family. So
okay.
After they leave the theater, Thomas has this idea, you know what, let's walk home in our costumes. To hell with the fact that Rupert Thorne just threatened my family.
Let's
just walk back home in this. So they walk home, and as they do this, an ice cream truck drives by. And the gunman opens fire on the couple and drives off, still playing the music from the truck. So this is very different from most versions of the Batman origin. It is literally somebody with a machine gun or something from an ice cream. It's a drive-by, basically.
Oh, yeah, so it's very impersonal.
Yeah. Bruce screams in, quote, unthinkable pain and grief and fixes on the face of the killer in the truck, who has green hair, pale skin, and red lips. It's the Joker at 17 years old in an ice cream truck shooting. So this is another instance of the Joker playing a role in the death of Bruce Wayne's parents. We saw this in the Tom Mankiewicz script, but here he is the gunman. And clearly Tim Burton still wanted this idea in it. It's not something that's in the comics. It's probably one of the most controversial parts of Batman 89, but we see the DNA already in this treatment.
Mm-hmm.
It says, quote, for a split second in a look which is to reshape Bruce's entire future, their eyes meet, lock, and then in a blink, the truck careens away to the surreal strains of Mr. Softy's music. Very Burton-esque.
Mr. Softy.
Yeah, Mr. Softy. Yeah, I'm picturing like a music box version of the Joker theme in 89, Elfman's Joker.
Okay, yeah.
Music. So that type of stuff.
Prince would have made ice cream truck music,
Softy.
Man. Prince, we didn't need
music video with
this.
Mr. Softy.
You're going like the extra 2 or 3 miles here.
So, after this murder, Commissioner Gordon is at the scene of the crime, comforting Bruce, as Thomas and Martha are taken away in white sheets that, quote, make them look like spectral horizontal ghosts. Again, I got to give credit to Hickson and Burton here. They're really honing in on the, like, not necessarily the fantasy aspect, or supernatural aspect, but the macabre, as you described. I think that's the perfect way to describe this. This is a very macabre take on the Batman mythos. And we have foreshadowing, too, because it's Gordon who's there to comfort Bruce at the crime scene, which is what was written in the Sam Hamm script. It's in various other versions of the mythos. I thought at first this was something that Steve Englehart brought to it, but Englehart writes his treatment after this with Gordon comforting Bruce. So technically, it's Julie Hickson who comes up with this, the writer of Homeward Bound 2. Who knew? So,
oh man, not the first one.
Yes.
The second one.
The second one.
They're in San Francisco, y'all. Man, Homeward Bound again. I'm just gonna do a real quick tangent here, but like that's one of those movies that I would have on VHS again, and I'd like want my dad to watch it, and he would never watch it, and
really?
like he'd watch movies with me, but not that one, and like looking back on it. As an adult, I'm like, oh yeah, I could see why you wouldn't want to watch that shit. Like, it's fucking dogs talking to each other for fucking 2 hours.
No thanks, son.
Yeah, you could watch. I'll let you watch it by yourself. You know, it's like that kind of thing.
Okay.
All right, Dad. Oh shit.
Right. Well, after these murders, Alfred finds young Bruce and vows that as long as he's alive, Bruce will never be alone. Again, because he's fulfilling the promise he made to Thomas Wayne earlier that night. Very
right.
fortuitous that Thomas made him say that right before he got gunned down, but that's what ends up happening. So I think we have a very solid, other than the very weird instance of Thomas Wayne getting shot down in a bat suit by Joker in a Mr. Softy truck, we have a pretty solid origin, I think.
Yeah, it's good. That's cool.
Yeah. We get the funeral of the Waynes again, and I'm going to have you read off actually what the priest says, because this ties into the theme, I guess, of this version of the treatment. So this is apparently from Ralph Waldo Emerson's essays in The Conduct of Life.
Nice.
This is what the priest says.
Great men, great nations have not been boasters and buffoons, but perceivers of the terror of life, and have manned themselves to face it.
Indeed.
Indeed.
So I think the priest brings this up because they're saying that Thomas Wayne exemplified this idea from Emerson. But this will pay off a little later.
Boasters, like you're boasting, you're a braggart. Is that what that's what it is? Okay.
Yeah.
For a second, I didn't know what that meant, but I got it now.
Yeah. This is old school Emerson talk. This is we're talking centuries ago.
Yeah.
But basically, being able to prepare for the worst of things.
Okay, cool.
So Bruce then has a voiceover that covers his silent vow to forego love, family, friendship, and all the trappings of normal life, to dedicate my life to a relentless war against crime. And that leads us into Act 2, preparation, transformation. And like they say in Team America, we're going to need a montage. So this is what a lot of the montage is going to be here.
I love montages, bro. Training montage is the best thing in cinema.
So we have,
so good.
During this montage, Bruce studies Tai Chi, Aikido, Judo, Kung Fu, advanced hypnosis. That's interesting.
That would be cool. They always miss that part of the... Keep going. Sorry,
Yeah. No, they do.
Yeah.
This does not pay off in this treatment, but it does in Bob Kane's version. Remember?
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right.
Not remembering that
it's
he's
like,
Bruce Wayne.
this broad will be hypnotized easily. Like all women.
It says that he also studies fencing, which ties in, of course, into Ra's al Ghul stuff. Though Ra's is not in this.
Oh,
Skydiving,
yeah, for sure.
Swimming, meditation. You got to have meditation in there.
Got to have it in there.
Especially if you're the Grant Morrison Batman. Grant Morrison's Batman has this whole thing where he goes through the Thogao ritual, some sort of Buddhism ritual.
Oh, my God. I have to read that. I've done myself a disservice not having... I'm sorry, Internet. I haven't read that one yet.
I'll have recommendations in terms of how to get through that one, because there's so much that's tied into the previous 70-plus years of Batman lore before Grant Morrison wrote that you kind of have to read some of those first.
Yeah, I just love how whacked out Grant Morrison is. I'm glad he exists.
Yes.
I'm glad he's out there reading every single comic before he writes one.
Everything is canon. Everything is canon. I love that approach.
He said before he started writing Flash, he read all Flash, and I'm sure he did this with Batman too. He's just that guy.
Mm-hmm. So we got meditation, we got archery, though obviously Oliver Queen's going to use that more. It also says he masters all major languages, adept at gymnastics, acrobatics, chess, criminology, law, medicine, astronomy, physics, and dabbles.
He gives Stephen Hawking some notes.
And the last part is interesting. Dabbles with magic and witchcraft. Again, adding to the macabre.
So that's not Morrison writing that. That's interesting. I could see him doing that though.
Bound 2.
Yeah, right. I could say again, Homeward Bound 2. So I could see him studying that kind of shit, if not to believe it, of course, but just to fucking know it, just to know that it's out there.
Because
it's culturally appropriate, culturally, not indicative, but it's relative to culture, I guess. I don't know.
I think it's just a case where I'm just like, if I am to fight against evil, and I find that evil extends beyond the world I've taken for granted, then I have to prepare myself.
Oh, definitely. Like if you're I'm sure that like the Israeli army reads neo-Nazi books, you know what I mean? Like they fucking got to know their enemy,
Yeah.
Shit like that. Yeah,
so he's
of
gone
course.
To an extreme. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's cool. We also see him combing through newspapers about crime and about Rupert Thorne. He suspects that Rupert Thorne was the man who was behind the murder of his parents. and he tries to convince Gordon about this, and Gordon is trying to look out for him. It says that Gordon regards Bruce Wayne as a second son. So this is interesting. A father-son, a surrogate father dynamic with Gordon, different from the surrogate father dynamic he has with Alfred, because in this case, Gordon only really knows Bruce. He doesn't really have that type of relationship with Batman. This is kind of an echo, too, for how Bruce was introduced as Gordon's friend from the very first panel in Detective Comics number 27. We talked about how we don't really get to see a lot of Bruce and Gordon as buddies so much as Batman and Gordon these days. We kind of get to see this in some way in the Gotham TV show where Bruce sort of saw Ben McKenzie's Gordon as another surrogate father, second to Alfred, of course. Okay. But this is an interesting idea that's brought up for that. Would have definitely given Pat Hingle's Gordon a lot more to do in the Burton games.
Yes. He didn't have much to do
He gave
there.
us the signal.
Great line delivery, though. That like stuck in my brain like when I was a kid, just the way he said that.
Oh, yeah. No, it's iconic.
Yeah.
Bruce also develops a basement hideaway, only accessed through a secret panel hidden behind a fake bookcase in the mansion library. This contains the flowcharts of Rupert Thorne's criminal organization. There's an elaborate gym and trapeze set, criminology and science lab, state-of-the-art computers, processor and tracking systems, at least for 1985. Basically,
I like to think that when he's training, he's like you said, he's learning languages and like doing gymnastics. Like, I'd like to think he doubles up. Like he
does it at the same time. Yeah.
Yeah. He's like learning Egyptian or something, and while doing push-ups or doing something physical.
Rings. Yeah.
Yeah, on the ring, doing the rings or something. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Bruce also watches the home video of his parents in costume every
He also watches Homeward Bound every night.
Homeward Bound 2.
Homeward Bound 2.
I should have had Dan give us a poster of Homeward Bound 2 on this.
Oh man, let's put the dog in the corner. What was it, Golden Retriever or some shit?
You know the movie better than I do.
Oh, you didn't watch it when you were a kid?
I don't think I did. I don't remember this one.
Did you watch the first one?
I remember just generally knowing what Homeward Bound was. I just don't remember if I saw the movies.
Oh, this is just one of those things everybody watched at the time when I was a kid. I remember.
Maybe I'll check it out when I have a kid.
No. Well, yeah, maybe then, but there's pretty much no reason to watch it. Like, I've never need to revisit. Like, The Sandlot is worth watching. That's an all-time American classic. Yeah. But Homeward Bound is not one of those movies. It's just decent enough. It's probably on Disney Plus.
Yeah. All right, I'll check it. I'll see if it's there for the future when I have a kid.
Yeah.
So Bruce is doing all this training stuff, and then we cut to years later where the Joker breaks out of prison and terrorizes Gotham, threatening revenge against Rupert Thorne, who somehow went from being a notorious mob boss to being the mayor of Gotham City. I don't know how that happened, but, we have another concept art piece here with the Joker. Again, the shock green hair. He's almost got like a Wolverine-style haircut in this one, but very exaggerated smile on this. Again, different from what we got.
So how many Joker drawings are there, and how many Batman drawings are there from Burton?
There's more Joker drawings than Batman ones.
He loves the villain. He loves evil.
It's not a surprise. Yeah, it's not a surprise there's more Joker. Also, his Batman illustrations are just the silhouette.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. There's not really a Batsuit design. I think he was more interested in, from like a design standpoint, regardless of like the writing or what character gets highlighted, because there's a lot more Batman than Joker in this specific treatment. But in terms of the design, I can see how Joker's a more interesting design.
Oh, for sure. I mean, if you're, some people just love the villains, man. Also, like, that's just how some people are. Like, I know people that, grew up watching Power Rangers and they like the monsters more than the Power Rangers. They watched it for the monster.
Yeah.
So, like, generally like horror fans, I guess. But we all know Burton's into the macabre. So
yes.
This is his thing. And I think Kevin Smith also, somebody said he just loves the monster. Mm-hmm. He loves that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and we've seen the varying designs for Joker as opposed to like Batman. You can't get too crazy off of that. Obviously, we've seen variations, but at the end of the day, like the silhouette is still the same. It's still the bat ears. It's still the cape. Like there's still certain things that are always going to be there. Whereas with Joker, we've seen everything go all over the place.
That's true. He's cross-dressing sometimes and shit like that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So Joker's free and he creates chaos in multiple ways. He releases all the animals from the Gotham Zoo. There's a comedic beat where a lion gets on a loaded bus at one stop and then casually gets off at another, presumably to meet up with the rest of the pets from Homeward Bound 2.
They're meeting in San Francisco, man. Come on. I want to know those dogs' names again. I forgot. Oh, shit.
Joker also preempts different TV shows and interrupts the airwaves. Very classic Joker MO. He has windows of skyscrapers painted black so no one can see. That's kind of weird. He makes trains go backwards.
Wow, diabolical.
And then for 1 hour on TV, it just shows the message, all work and no play makes Joker a dull boy, which feels a little bit foreshadowing of Jack Nicholson's casting, since the phrase all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy is a major part of The Shining. So I thought that was an interesting beat.
Wow. Yeah, they had this in mind.
Yeah. So back home, Bruce is playing chess with Alfred when they're watching The Love Boat on TV. Again, this is 1985, everybody.
Dude, man, just don't put shows like that in movies because it's never going to age well, no matter what show it is.
References, I'm like, wait, what?
Dude, people used to, in the 90s growing up when I was a kid, people would reference The Love Boat a lot.
Yeah.
And I had no idea what it was. And it finally got on Nick at Night or something. And I watched it for a little bit, and I was like, this is terrible. Sorry if you like The Love Boat out there, guys. Like, I liked Mork and Mindy, and I liked Bewitched and stuff. The Monsters. I liked what was on Nick at Night at the time when I was a kid growing up a lot. But that show, I didn't get it. I didn't get that show.
I haven't seen it, so I can't comment on it.
It sucks.
It sucks. But it would have been cool if this happened. So the guests are revealed to be Tom Bosley, Cloris Leachman, Andy Warhol, and then, of course, the Joker. Who shows
Andy Warhol?
Yeah.
Damn. I mean, that's cool.
They got him for this.
That would have been...
show up as a love boat.
Andy Warhol showing up in some kind of way.
Yeah.
Especially, they go to a fucking art museum in this fucking movie eventually, right? In the final draft.
Yep,
so like
in this version too.
And in this version, so like honestly, dude, with Burton at the helming this kind of thing, this pick Warhol being in there wouldn't be too off for me, I think.
Yeah, I think that's cool.
Yeah.
So Joker promises more chaos, and Bruce sees this, and because the Joker is creating chaos in Gotham, Bruce decides it's time to fight crime. But how? So I think this is interesting again because it is Joker who not only creates Batman by killing his parents, but also creates him by creating the circumstances in Gotham where Bruce has to step up and fight crime.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Which I think is controversial because a lot of people like the idea of the reverse, where Batman shows up and then other villains come out from the woodworks and are somewhat inspired by him. But like I'm open to both in terms of like who created who type of thing, because we grew up with Batman '89 and we've got Keaton with that great line where we're just like, I made you, you made me first, that thing. So that whole cycle thematically I really like.
It's in the end of Batman Begins, right? We make bulletproof vests, they make armor-piercing rounds. You amp the theatricality. They start to amp up the theatricality. That's this whole spiel at the end of Begins, which blew my mind when I first saw it. I was like, damn, that's great. Yeah. I love that. I love that last little tag scene there in Begins. Yeah.
No notes for that scene.
No notes.
So Bruce rewatches the whole
from two
movie.
jackasses on the internet. No notes.
No notes for a movie that is over 10, 15 years old. Bruce rewatches the whole movie footage of Thomas Wayne in the bat suit, and Bruce decides to take on the mantle of the Bat based off of what his dad was wearing on the night of his death. So there's kind of an eerie connection here because he kind of sees it as if his father, and it says that his father is like waving to him and, quote, beckoning him into some imagined reunion in the silent hereafter of the screen. So it's almost as if Bruce wants to become the Batman, almost on a suicide mission because he knows that inevitably he will die in the field one night and he will get to join his parents one day in that. So, again, very macabre.
This
whole thing.
It's a little different, but it's kind of cool though. I mean, at least
Yeah.
it, you know, it gives some motive for him wanting to be a bat.
Yeah, and that's another thing too, is
Yeah.
that in the way that Bill Finger had written it, like supposedly that if everything is canon in our Grant Morrison type world, then Bruce saw Thomas Wayne in the bat suit. And then just years later, he separately saw the bat fly in through the window and just happened to be like, all right, I'll don a costume. And didn't think about the fact that his dad had a Batman costume earlier. And so what Burton and Hickson do is they consolidate it. They make it makes more sense. Where it's just like, oh, the image of Thomas Wayne in the bat suit is kind of replacing the bat coming in through the window and creating a different meaning for it.
Yeah.
So
This is cool.
I think that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, I'm jumping a little ahead here, but so far we're stacking up the evidence about Burton reading the comics. I would say.
Okay.
Or at least
Okay.
Julie
Yeah.
Hickson.
It's hard to tell who wrote what though, right?
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
That is true. Bruce goes to a drawer and opens a box which has a cowled headpiece, gloves, boots, a black bat insignia on a yellow field decorating the chest, and he dons for the first time the bat suit. And in the mirror, he echoes the Emerson quote that I had you say, the quote that's from his father's funeral about great men manning themselves to face the terror of life. I don't know if he needed to say that out loud while he was in the, in front of the mirror in the bat suit, but
it's inner monologue, dude. This would have been the inner monologue part.
If
maybe.
they did voiceover, then sure.
During a montage.
Yeah, if he's, the elfin music kicks in and you see the suit up for the first time as the voiceover says this line about great men manning themselves to face evil, like that stuff, like that would have worked.
Mm-hmm.
And the text says, "The Prince of Darkness is born." Again, referring to Batman as the Prince of Darkness, which I think is cool. So, Batman prowls the city, scaling up buildings using, quote, specially designed suction gloves and knee pads. No, this is not them trying to channel Spider-Man. This is actually shown in the old Finger and Cane run. Another comics reference here. So we've got him with the suction pads and the knee pads here in Detective Comics number, I want to say 29 on this.
This was before like the grappling gun thing, right?
Yeah.
Like and all that kind of shit. So yeah, this makes sense. Like even the Adam West days, it's not like he shoots it and it fucking flies up a fucking building. They fucking do rappelling basically. Just
much.
throws up a rope. So yeah, I think people might forget about that, especially since '89.
It was the Burton movie that sort of really made the popularity of the grappling gun.
Yeah, I mean it's a great addition though.
Yeah.
I mean it's just too good.
And look what it's evolved into. I love the taxi driver-esque one that comes out through his sleeve in the Pattinson version.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
him using it. They haven't done this too much, but in the Arkham games, the grappling gun is also like grabs a dude, like a henchman. Yeah, the bat claw. So it'd be cool to see more of that kind of thing. In the next movie.
Yeah, we've seen it. We saw a little bit of it in the Iceberg Lounge fight, and Keaton does that in Axis Chemicals. But yeah, more of that would be cool.
I'd love to see just like absolute wizardry with the belt, with like using all the items in the utility belt.
Yeah.
Just like whenever you're like really in like they call this in gaming the flow mode, whenever you're just really like when you're in flow or whatever, and just there's probably videos out there of like really cool fights people have had in Arkham. Hell, just fucking screenwriters, if you're out there, if whoever, Tomlin or whoever's writing the next one, if you're listening to this, just base it on the fucking game, man. Like what Snyder did, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, at least with the action and the game mechanics.
And just like this item, then this item, and this item, and like, yes, punches. Anyway, I digress.
Yeah. I would hope we see more of that simply because, it was supposed to be year 2 Batman, and we're supposed to see the evolution of that stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And our Batman in this script will evolve too, as he's off to face the Joker for the first time. So Joker tries, our Patreon listeners got the first taste of this, but Joker's debut in this is to launch a 100-foot Christmas tree like a rocket, like in Christmas with the Joker.
I'll allow it.
He brings up he lost his last 15 Christmases in prison. He missed Christmas the last 15 years, so he's going to ruin Christmas for all of Gotham City. So Joker's kind of the Grinch. in this.
This is like just like a little bit of West here. I think.
Right?
I don't think he would have hit his tone that he wanted to ultimately.
I have trouble hearing Jack Nicholson say these lines while riding a giant Christmas tree.
I could see Nicholson just be like, "I'm out. You had me at first pitch, but this Christmas tree shit." And then that's when they're like, "Oh, Jack, I'm sorry. We'll rewrite it.
We'll rewrite this." Yes.
Yeah, that's the next treatment was because of Jack complaining about Christmas trees.
Yeah. Like shit, we got to rewrite this, but it's because of this Christmas tree that Batman debuts to stop him. So this is concept art again of the Batman from Tim Burton. Again, notice it's the silhouette on top of the building.
Just in silhouette
suit, yeah.
But also, again, it's a horror macabre kind of thing. Like, this is when Batman's scariest.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you don't quite know what it is. It's, yeah, so I can see why he draws like that. This is how he likes Batman. Mm-hmm. You know, this very mysterious figure, Shadow.
And this definitely carries over into the final movie. You know, the first time he shows
you
see him in the background with the cape outstretched, just like in this image.
Dude.
So that carries over.
What a simple move it was. Just like, just moving the cape up like that. Like, it's just so, it's just so simple and great, you know?
Yeah, no, definitely. So Batman shows up to stop the Joker, and this is their first confrontation, a, quote, violently choreographed ballet fight, which rages through the square, across the ice skating rink, and eventually surfaces on the rooftop of the Gotham News building in front of their gargantuan trademark clock. The fight ends when the Joker violently pushes Batman off the roof, who somersaults 20 stories because, again, expert gymnast, and only narrowly misses death by landing gracefully in a protruding awning. When Batman looks up, the Joker is gone.
Okay.
So that is the first confrontation between the two, and everyone sees the Batman debut, and they ask, who is this guy? Is he friend or foe? So they will have to find out after the break as we cover the rest of the script.
On the Hardcore Gaming 101 podcast, we ask the tough questions. Killing a Rayman, whatever that may be, is that really so bad? Like,
no,
is he even alive? Like, do we know?
Does he
have any desires, Cal? Does he have any dreams? We're ranking the top games of all time, and it's not a task we take lightly.
There are 3 Battletoads, Drash, Zitz, and Pimple. They're all skin problems. Get it?
2 of them are the same skin problem. This has always bothered me. Zits, rash, and eczema. You know what I mean? It's like, even that makes more sense. Hardcore Gaming 101. Twice a week, every week. Subscribe at greenlitpodcast.com.
We're the Spirit Hunters, and we're a show that treats Hunter x Hunter and Yu Yu Hakusho's author as the center of the universe. Some weeks we do linguistic analysis.
So the Chinese meaning of this character is to smelt or refine, but so the changed meaning in Japanese it means to temper.
Other times we get absolutely smashed.
So we take 1 shot every time. Yusuke uses the ray gun.
1 hour later.
This is the least coherent episode.
Sarah, I think your apartment is haunted.
I think you're
drunk. You can find out more about the Spirit Hunters right here on the Greenlit Podcast Network.
Lord have mercy, y'all. Do you like hounds? Do you enjoy pooches? Do you find yourself enjoying time spent with that of canines? Talking about dogs, y'all.
As you might have heard, Superhero Stuff You Should Know has now teamed up with BarkBox. For every month, you get a box for your special canine.
Pooches.
Or hounds.
That's right. 1 free extra month if you go to barkbox.com/superherostuffpod.
Follow the link and you'll get a free extra month valued at $35 and valid for all multi-length plans.
So get the BarkBox for your hound, for your pooch, for your canine.
Your doggo will thank you.
Gentlemen, all men strive for gold in their life, right? Gold medals, gold watches, gold everything.
However, there is a certain type of man who goes the extra mile. He walks with the confidence of an eagle and giggles in the face of danger.
He's a big, hairless winning machine. And when he unzips his pants, he sees platinum.
That's right. Manscaped would like to introduce you to their best and biggest ultimate hygiene bundle yet, the Platinum Package 4.0.
Manscaped is the leader in below-the-waist grooming. Now trust them with the whole shebang. Join the 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped by going to manscaped.com for 20% off and free shipping with the code Johnson's Ballsack.
Yes, use Johnson's Ballsack and use Manscaped. It'll help your confidence, and to basically cut to brass tacks, it'll make your dick look bigger, guys. It'll just make the Johnson look bigger. That's all you need to know.
It'll make your dick seem bigger. I don't know how to make it clearer. So Johnson's Ballsack, that's the code at checkout at manscaped.com.
Manscaped's brand new Platinum Package 4.0 is the biggest bundle they've ever offered, giving you a bulk discount on Manscaped's top product.
The Manscaped Platinum Package 4.0 is the one-stop shop for the man who deserves it all. They designed this package to allow you to fully align your entire hygiene routine with elite products.
Inside this Platinum Package, you'll find their Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, Ultra Premium Body Wash, Ultra Premium 2-in-1 shampoo plus conditioner, Ultra Premium deodorant, Crop Preserver anti-chafing ball deodorant, Crop Reviver ball spray toner, anti-chafing boxers, and the Shed travel bag to hold your goods while traveling.
The Lawnmower 4.0 body trimmer and Weed Whacker nose and air hair trimmer feature proprietary advanced skin-safe technology to protect your delicate parts and holes. Both are waterproof, so you can shave with less mess.
In addition to shaving, you can now completely upgrade your shower routine with the Ultra Premium Body Wash and Ultra Premium 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner. You'll have your skin and hair feeling hydrated and smelling fresh.
Don't forget to apply their aluminum-free, ultra-premium deodorant for that cologne-quality scent on the go. But it's not just your pits that stank. Your balls can stank too.
Thankfully, the Crop Preserver Ball Deodorant and Crop Reviver Ball Toner can solve this problem for you. Once they touch your sack, you'll never go back.
Tone the balls, y'all. Manscaped even threw in 2 free gifts to their Platinum Package 4.0. The Manscaped Boxers and the Shed Travel Bag. Bring your comfort in boxers to another level.
The Platinum Package 4.0 covers all the bases from head to toe. The best bang for your shebang.
Get 20% off and free shipping with the code Johnson's Ballsack at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use the code Johnson's Ballsack. It's time you enjoyed the finer things in life and get yourself a Platinum Package for your Platinum Package.
Eliminate clutter and embrace the freedom of HyperX wireless gaming gear for PC and console.
Power through all the great monthly PlayStation Plus games with the Cloud Stinger Core Wireless for PlayStation.
Enjoy lightweight comfort with the reliable wireless freedom so you won't miss plot points when you head to the fridge.
High-quality HyperX wireless products can be found at most fine retailers, as well as online at Target, Best Buy, and Amazon, or you can shop for them directly at hyperx.com and hp.com.
And we're back, and so we're going to cover the rest of the 1985 treatment from Homeward Bound 2's Julie Hickson and Tim Burton.
Of Homeward Bound 2 fame,
Yes.
Julie Hickson. Oh, man.
So we left off. Batman has fought Joker for the first time. He has debuted. And the next day, Gordon calls on Bruce Wayne to talk about the Batman, asking if he knows anything about Batman. And at one point, he warns Bruce about taking the law into his own hands, implying that Gordon, in this treatment, suspects Bruce is Batman way in the beginning.
Okay.
Which I think is interesting.
Yeah, that's different, right?
Yeah, very different. Also, not at all anything that we saw with Pat Ingle's Gordon. So, again, Gordon's a lot more developed in this treatment, along with Batman and basically everybody in this. So, I thought that was cool on this. And Bruce naturally tells him he doesn't know anything about what's going on with this Batman and everything. So, it's something that I think even Sam Hamm, who wrote the final script, suspected, which is that Gordon kind of knows, but kind of gives him the respect of not saying that he knows, because Gordon is a detective himself. And Batman wouldn't be teaming up with him unless he was a competent detective. Batman 66 is Neil Hamilton notwithstanding. But
Right.
it is a factor. I'm like, yeah, you know what? I like that interpretation.
Right.
So the Joker's crime spree continues. Another image of Tim Burton's Joker.
Loves the monster, dude.
Yeah. Here we go. So we've got him in front of what looks like flames. Maybe I should have put this one in the beginning. I fucked up.
Nah, it's cool. Yeah, they're all like kind of different too. Like this one looks like not. I mean, the first one with the stripes looked like it took like 5 minutes. This one, maybe 30 minutes.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, for somebody like Burton, you know, it's cool though. I mean, looks demented.
Still the like spiky hair. The sort
He
of
likes
vintage
that.
type hair. Yeah. He really liked that for this.
Yeah.
So Joker paints the entire city in candy striped colors. The Fiend.
That foul fiend.
Foul Fiend. Clean up this city.
They changed the tone of this entirely by the time they got to 89.
Yeah, definitely. There's no poisoning the cosmetics. At least not yet.
Oh yeah,
So,
love that Joker.
He does, however, he does make the city immobilized without water, power, gasoline, subways, and food. I don't know why he paints the entire city in candy stripe color. I guess it's just to show the unpredictable nature of the Joker. Sometimes he just has a prank, and other times in this version, he does something that is just monumentally disastrous.
He wants to mix whimsy with disaster.
Yeah, and I think that's
guess.
it's kind of cool here, where it's just like, okay, sometimes I'll paint the entire city, or I'll just have like a weird message on the TV, and then other times I'm going to do this, which is that the next thing he does is he sets off bombs indiscriminately along various locations of the city, always accompanied by a pathological joke message relating to the specific location.
Okay.
So he's not always just doing prankster Cesar Romero stuff.
Okay.
So Batman goes on the search for Joker. Here we have a rare image of Batman on a rooftop. Again, the silhouette. But it's kind of a cool... We're kind of looking at a cool image of the Gotham City with just the lights and the buildings and a huge-ass moon on this.
It's a really big moon.
Yeah.
But something interesting about it, like it's a very like the... How can I say this? The sky looks wavy. It looks like waves. It's very surreal. It's very maybe not nightmarish, but it's kind of dark dreamscape.
It does remind me, because I'm looking at it right now in my office, but it kind of reminds me of when somebody did the Vincent van Gogh Starry Night, but they made it Starry Dark Night and put Batman in it. It looks like that.
It does look like that, a lot simpler, but yeah, it's I guess because it's a wavy night sky.
Yeah.
But it's cool. I think his style is pretty cool.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So this image is rare. It is actually featured in the 2014 concert of Danny Elfman's music at the Nokia Theater, accompanied by his Batman themes, of course. And I had Dan go through and provide screenshots from it so that we could show that to you guys.
Wow.
Deep cuts.
Pretty deep cut here. That's cool.
Yes. So at night he's Batman, but by day he's Bruce Wayne, philanthropist who deliberately puts himself in charity functions because he knows that Mayor Rupert Thorne is going to be there. Thorne, of course, is his number one suspect behind the deaths of his parents. So, similar to the Batman, where Bruce deliberately goes to the mayor's funeral to see if he can find Riddler, he kind of uses Bruce Wayne as a tool in the beginning of this.
Mm-hmm.
One event coming up is the opera, making this the first time that Bruce has to go to an opera since his parents' deaths. So, naturally, he has mixed feelings about that. And he goes to a performance of Mendelssohn's Midsummer Night's Dream, where the singer playing Titania the Fairy Queen is played by Silver St. Cloud. So again, we get Silver from the Strange Apparitions arc. Now, here's something that Hickson added. Let's remember, Martha Wayne was wearing a fairy costume to the opera the night that she died. And Silver St. Cloud is playing the Fairy Queen. And Hickson writes, quote, "Despite psychological underpinnings, or maybe because of them, Bruce is intrigued."
Oh my God, dude. They're writing Oedipus complex and Bruce these days.
Exactly.
Oh man, I don't know about that.
I don't know about that. Homeward Bound 2.
Homeward Bound 2, you gotta stay in your lane, man. You gotta stay in San Francisco, okay?
So
with those talking dogs. By the way, I looked it up. The names are Chance. That was the main one, voiced by Michael J. Fox. Sally Field did Sassy. And then some guy named Ralph Waite, maybe he's famous, I don't know, but did Shadow. So there you go. I remember the name Chance. I do remember him.
Yeah, that's a good name.
Yeah.
So Joker crashes the opera with a, quote, riotous fireworks display so violent that people flee in terror and many are actually hurt. And Bruce finds Silver and leads her to safety through the backstage as Joker takes off in his Joker-mobile. Hello, Peanut.
Peanut has arrived, everybody.
Peanut has arrived. We can now start the party.
Peanut cameo. Yes, exactly.
Heard about all the Homeward Bound 2 stuff.
Yeah, he was like, I heard there are dogs in that. I don't know about that.
So,
this drawing is the most menacing, the least humorous. I feel like we talked about this before. This exact drawing.
Yeah,
it's the least humorous. Yeah, least humorous one. This one is like definitely like this Joker here in this trench coat kidnaps children. Like this is a menacing Joker here.
Yeah, and I first saw this as the Topps trading card for Batman 89, and I was blown away because this is the Joker by Tim Burton. I'm like, where was this? You know, like this image is not in the movie, and it was kind of my first exposure to concept art, and specifically Tim Burton's concept art. And who knew I would find so much more years later? You know, thanks to the internet.
This is your first Burton, like behind the scenes, not in the movie.
Yeah.
Art you saw. Okay.
Yeah, because look how drastically different he is from Nicholson. We've got this scarf that he doesn't wear in the movie. He's almost like he's got sunglasses. The fedora sort of covers the front of the face, and you've got this menacing smile underneath. We never really got that type of image in the movie, but it's awesome.
If anybody wants to like just in the next one, whenever they inevitably do it, just kind of rip this off.
Barry Keoghan in there.
Yeah, Barry Keoghan, like, you know.
I could see it.
I could see it, and just kind of show, like, you can only really see the smile because the hat is kind of covering the eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah.
So, Bruce helps Silver escape as Joker wreaks havoc at the Opera House, and Bruce escorts Silver home. And it says, after years of psychic and physical abstinence, Bruce stays the night. Oedipus complex.
So, how do you feel like when does a screenplay overstep its bounds with description? You know, like we talked about this before, like the screenplay is not really prose, right? It's not a novel. Like you almost kind of want it to be bare bones at times, because if you have too much description, you're kind of getting in the way of even like costume design, or you're getting in the way of other people working on the movie. If you have too much of a description of like a camera move, that's not your job as a screenwriter. That is the DP, the director of photography, the cinematographer. Like, so, I mean, these descriptions are cool, but I wonder, it's like, I mean, obviously he, made his way with Homeward Bound and shit, but sometimes it feels like it's not a totally bare bones description, which I just find interesting.
Yeah, I mean, we also have to keep in mind it's a treatment, so we don't know necessarily how or what they thought it could have been done in screenplay form. You know, like it says that despite all these years of physical abstinence, he stays the night and stuff. But we don't know how that's going to be portrayed. You know, we could have had part in that montage of him actually, turning girls down and all that sorts of things. And so it's more dramatic when he stays the night with Silver, just to show that he does care about her, even though he just met her and saw her in a fairy costume that his mom was wearing. But I guess the rules for treatment, and there's no real rules, but just there's the rules for treatment and script are, I guess, a little bit different. But like, for example, just to illustrate to the listeners and the people out there, instead of saying, they wait a minute before they speak, generally the screenplay will say beat. Yeah. Like they wait a beat. And even then, it's just like, maybe you should leave that up to the director and the actors.
Yeah, right. It's like, even that is like, like you said, it can be, you never know like where the job of the screenwriter ends and the director begins, or whoever, so yeah, it's so bare bones sometimes, like, but we all know movies at this point, so when you read a screenplay, a lot of it's filled out, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, you can kind of imagine it, even though you might not necessarily know how they would have written it into the script or how they would have fleshed it out on screen.
Yeah.
So while Bruce is sleeping with Silver, Joker goes back to his hideout, which is a novelty joke/magic shop. And he has different experiments. He's got a fish tank full of Joker fish. Again, a connection to the strange apparition, the laughing fish stuff. And he's got his quote-unquote grimacing gas, which is the term for Joker venom in this before it got turned into Smilex for the movie.
Okay.
So Joker has somebody helping him out. This is not Bob the Goon. This is an ex-cellmate who is a nuclear physicist from his prison days. And this guy gives him details on what damage the grimacing gas will cause. I don't know why this guy's a nuclear physicist. It should have been a chemist, but whatever.
Do you think McDonald's would have complained about grimacing gas?
For sure.
Because of Grimace.
For sure.
By the way, you know what Grimace is supposed to be?
I've heard conflicting opinions on this.
A taste bud.
Supposed to be a taste bud, but then I think somebody who worked at McDonald's, like one of the CEOs, like somebody high up, not like somebody who's at the drive-thru, was just like, it was not intended for him to be a taste bud. So I'm like, I don't know then.
I'm going with taste bud. That's just ridiculous enough.
It's ridiculous enough that it just has to be true.
Yeah, grimacing gas, man.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
So, Bruce is back at Silver's apartment. Once Bruce has done the deed with Silver, he leaves and goes to the Batcave.
Thanks, Mommy. I mean Silver.
Yes. So he goes to a nearby barn located several hundred yards from the mansion and is connected to the Batcave by an underground tunnel. This feels very much like the description of the very first diagram of the Batcave from the 1940s we talked about in the Batcaves episode. Another connection to the older Batman comics here, which I've pulled up here on the visual version of it. But essentially, in the old days, there was a barn that was close to Wayne Manor, and that barn would be sort of used as another entrance into the Batcave. So that's all connected here. And we also see the Batmobile for the first time, and I'm going to present a very rare piece of Tim Burton's concept art for the Batmobile.
Oh, wow.
Now, this is interesting. So what we got here... Yeah, it's interesting. It's not. I'm thank God they didn't go with it. But it's essentially just a shell with the bat symbol on it, and the shell like grows the back fin and then wheels and then takes off. Is what we have here.
All right. So you remember when I said Mr. Freeze was over-designed?
Yes.
This would be a case of under-designed.
Yep.
I like
needs more.
I like that he wants to be simple. I really appreciate that. But like an egg kind of thing, I don't know, man. I mean, it looks like a toy, though. I mean, at least it has that. But
I'd be curious to see the toy of this.
Yeah, it looks like one of those like you put on the floor and you push back and then it goes.
Yeah.
It looks like one of those.
Yeah, to sort of have it transform from just that egg.
Oh.
The thing is, I don't know what the egg thing is supposed to be. If it's supposed to be for stealth, it doesn't really work because like everyone's going to be looking at it, being like, "What the fuck is this egg-shaped metal thing with a bat symbol on it?"
I'm now so upset that there's no Transformer Batmobile. Has that never happened? It must have happened.
Let's get Zach away from his kid in order to...
Yeah. That would mean that the Batmobile itself would have to be like a sentient creature in a sense because the Transformers are. But hell, I'm ready. Let's do it. Batman Beyond. Dude, I'm telling you, we were thinking of the fucking Batman Beyond script on this podcast and on the Patreon mainly, but
yeah.
Damn, they need to make that, dude. That's so cool. Anyway.
Autobot Batmobile.
Especially in Batman Beyond. Shit.
Yeah, that would work.
God, that would work. This is killing me now. I get angry that it doesn't exist already.
Let's take some notes. Let's make sure that we get this done.
I feel a little upset now, Ben.
It's not up to us, unfortunately, in terms of what gets made.
It's not up to us right now.
That's true. That's true. So it says here, quote, Albert is waiting for Bruce Wayne with food. Yes, at this point, Alfred is misspelled to say Albert in the script. I think Hickson made a typo.
It's possible, dude. You stay up late at night, and they're probably writing on a fucking typewriter. It's fucking 85, man. Well, it might have been an early word processor, but there's no spell check on that shit.
There's no spell check. And even then, Albert wouldn't be caught because they're just like, oh, sure, Albert, it's a name. You spelled it correctly.
Yes, that's true. It wouldn't have been caught. Yeah.
So Albert says, hey. No, Albert comes in and tells Bruce that Joker went to a comedy club that, quote unquote, like the Comedy Store or Improv, and delivered an insane monologue of Billy Crystal jokes. I don't know if there's any Billy Crystal jokes that could be described as insane, but anyways, it deliberately
Maybe
says
his
Billy
stand-up was maybe crazier than his movies.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
And then he, for the first time, he douses the entire comedy club with the grimacing gas, killing all of them.
Okay.
So, because of this, the next morning, Gordon tells Bruce, I want to enlist the Batman in the fight against Joker, further hinting that he knows that Bruce is the connection to Batman. And this leads to the beginning of the Gordon-Batman partnership, and Gordon being like, he gave us the signal. So we get the bat signal at this point, about halfway into the movie.
Way earlier.
Yeah, much earlier.
Yeah.
So Bruce and
Is that line in this?
No, it's not.
Oh,
It's just
okay,
says
okay,
the
okay.
bat signal is, is part of this. So Bruce and Silver go to attend the yearly benefit for the Gotham City Crippled Children's Fund, which is, of course, taking place as a circus. We see where this is going.
Okay.
So the circus is housed in the Newtown Sports Arena, a suburb in Gotham. This is actually a reference to Newtown being the location of the deaths of the Graysons in the comics. For a while in the comics, the Graysons were not killed in Gotham City. They were killed in a suburb outside of it called Newtown, or a suburb that's part of it.
So do they still have that, or did Newtown become Bloodhaven?
I think it's a separate thing. Like,
Could be separate.
I don't think they revised it for it to be Bloodhaven. I think at a certain point, they're just like, because in the original comic, it just says that it's a city it's not actually Gotham City. It's like an area outside of Gotham. Is what they say in Detective Comics 30.
Ben, I expect you to be very knowledgeable on all Gotham geography.
The
Yeah, and the suburbs surrounding the tri-state area, whatever those states are. I can't believe they've gone 80 years and I mean, I know it has to be fake, but they just maintain that ambiguity.
There's a lot of different maps,
Yeah.
of the area. I know my copy of Greg Rucka's No Man's Land has a map of Gotham in it. You've got the Art of the Batman book that I have has the version of Matt Reeves' Batman mapped out.
Okay.
So it's all pretty cool. On this.
Okay.
Again, another comic book connection here because we have Burton and Hickson saying it's in Newtown, which was cited in Batman number 213 by E. Nelson Bridwell in 1969 as the town where Robin's parents were killed. So
Okay.
that. If you're a longtime listener of this podcast, you know what happens here. We've covered it before. The Joker crashes the circus with the Penguin, with the Riddler, with the Catwoman, and they're in better disguises than they were in the 1966 movie where they just had domino masks. So Penguin's in disguise as a ringmaster, kind of like Two-Face did in Batman Forever. Riddler's disguise is as a clown, and Catwoman is a, quote, sexy trapeze artist in this. So Flying Graysons are performing with a 10-year-old Dick Grayson, and Catwoman is the one who puts the acid on the ropes, which break, causing the Graysons to fall, and makes Catwoman the killer of Dick Grayson's parents, which I don't really feel that great about, but they could have easily rewritten this.
This would mean that their love interest is more than likely not there, or if they did go that route, it would be just such a different tone, man. Yeah.
I just don't see it. I think they were going off the 66 version of Catwoman, who didn't really have the don't kill innocents type of rule. She was fine with innocent people dying. The 1966 version of Catwoman, as opposed to a lot of the majority of versions of Catwoman. So here, Dick Grayson's parents die, but Dick also falls when the ropes break. But it says that his lighter weight causes him to veer into a nearby pole, deflecting his fall into a stack of hay bales piled along the sidelines. The effect is that of a baby bird falling out of a tree into a nest. So another reason for him to be named Robin is because he had a bird-like survival after his parents were killed.
That's interesting.
Yeah, interesting addition from Hickson and Burton here.
Mm-hmm.
So Joker claims credit for the deed. He escapes with the other villains through firing confetti bombs. Penguin, Catwoman, and Riddler are never seen again after this, so there's kind of no point to their cameos. Yeah, they could have just been his goons.
That's the multiverse back then, dude.
Yeah, that's the multiverse.
Just
They
show up for a moment.
66, yeah.
Yeah.
So Bruce makes his way to Dick, concerned for the child, and knows what he's going through. He carries Dick Grayson to the car with Silver by his side, and he remembers what Alfred told him the night that the Joker killed his parents. And he turns to Dick and he says the same line, saying, quote, "As long as I live, you will never be alone." And now we're going to move into Act 3, called Retribution and Family.
Retribution.
Yes. It's great. It's a great word.
Mm-hmm.
So weeks pass, and Bruce Wayne has adopted Dick Grayson as his ward. Dick is described in a very interesting, non-traditional way. So the standard image of Dick Grayson is almost like, okay, he basically looks like young Bruce Wayne. He's just, he's just a white kid with black hair.
Yes.
But here it says, pale skin to the point of ghostly. Again, there's that macabre aspect.
I think Robin's always like more chipper too.
Yeah, that's true.
Even after his parents died, like Bruce became emo grandmaster after his parents died,
Right.
but yeah, Dick doesn't see it that way.
Exactly, yeah.
Or doesn't affect him in that way.
Yeah. He is defined by an alert little face and carrot-colored hair, sort of a new wave artful dodger. Although still gawkily puppyish, he moves with an elegance and agility through years of intense acrobatic training. So what we have pictured here to represent this is Bruce Wayne with a pre-crisis version of Jason Todd, who was red-headed. This is from the 1983 comic. This treatment is from 1985, 2 years later. So there's a possibility that Hickson and Burton liked the image of this red-headed Robin and put this in the treatment. So that's another interesting connection.
That was their idea of diversity in '85, bro.
Let's have a ginger in here.
Let's put a ginger in there.
So Dick becomes less haunted while Bruce also sort of warms up to him, and it says that some age-old coldness in Bruce is being thawed by his love for the boy. They are healing each other through just their presence.
Indeed.
That healing is not going to last too long because Joker goes on television dressed as the Mad Hatter. And just to make things simplified, this is not the Batman villain Jervis Tetch the Mad Hatter. This is the Lewis Carroll Alice in Wonderland character who also got adapted by Tim Burton. So that's why we have that picture here of that.
Right. That's right.
Mad Hatter Joker holds Barbara Walters hostage so that she can interview him. There's more real life here.
Oh, man.
Today, that would still be kind of relevant.
Yeah.
There, he announces his intention to run for mayor of Gotham City. So this is foreshadowing of Penguin trying to run for mayor in Batman Returns. This is actually from this treatment. Or in a way, because Penguin running for mayor sort of predates this earlier, because that was in the 1966 show. But whatever the case, Burton wants a Batman villain to run for mayor of Gotham. That's what we got here.
It really wants it.
Yeah, and he says, if you vote for me, or basically vote for me, and I'll end all of the destruction. This is similar to the vote for me or I'll kill you thing that we got in Steve Englehart's Dark Detective. I think Steve Englehart's Joker got a lot quicker to the point in this one.
Yeah, that's a hell of a line. It's great though.
Yeah, and we covered that, of course, in the Dark Knight ripoff Dark Detective episode we got here with Zach's fantastic art.
Man.
Joaquin Joker saying vote for me or I'll kill you.
Mm-hmm.
So we got that, and Joker, to put himself in the running for mayor, he puts himself in a debate with Mayor Rupert Thorne, moderated by real-life figure Wally George in 1985. And Hickson writes, Wally George's, quote, level of psychosis somewhat rivals Joker's.
Was this guy like a news pundit at the time in '85?
He was a big news pundit at the time, apparently. I was just like, who the fuck is this? As I was reading this.
Dude, I mean, yeah, I didn't know who this is. Like, especially like a news guy at this time.
Yeah.
If it's, more like a pop culture thing, I'd probably know it more.
This is already dated,
Really, really
like
dated.
Barbara Walters, we know. Wally George, I'm like, what?
Right. It felt like Prince was dated by the time it came out on VHS. Like, Prince had this huge run and then just like cuts off and pop. At least from my purview, just kind of people knew who he was, but like that run was over, dude. Like, yeah.
It kind of ends with Batman '89. And
yeah.
Here we've got this other figure in this, but he only has this cameo, and Joker has a debate with Rupert Thorne, which is basically a stand-up roast of Thorne throughout it, which is kind of funny.
It's weird. I don't think any politicians would ever roast anybody like that.
Yeah, no. And then Joker shoots Thorne to death on the air and escapes. So
wow, so he shoots somebody on the air.
So yeah.
Wow.
He gets away with it.
It's like in Joker.
Yes. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
So because of the chaos that creates this that Joker has created on this. Batman is called in by Commissioner Gordon, and there are calls traded with Batman, Bruce Wayne, and Commissioner Gordon, which is similar to the classic moment from Batman 66 where Gordon has Bruce and Batman talk to each other, and Adam West has to talk into two phones at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
In the episode Ice Spy. So
nice.
Hilarious. Dick also apparently learns that Bruce is Batman, asks to join the fight, but Bruce refuses since Dick is too young and not trained enough. Again, Dick is supposed to be 10 years old in this.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So Bruce decides to fight the fight another way, and when the Joker is in Gotham Times Square, a precursor to Gotham Plaza in Batman Returns, when he's in the Gotham Times Square, he sees that there's a campaign poster. He has a rival, Bruce Wayne, is running against him for mayor. So, that's an interesting twist in this, and that itself was a comic in Detective Comics 179. Was Bruce Wayne as the mayor of Gotham City? So we got the cover of that here for the visual viewers here. So Bruce sees that Gotham is in disarray. Places have been bombed or closed. Joker's campaign posters are all over saying, "Vote for the Joker," or "The joke's on you." And Joker has also made himself Time Magazine's Man of the Year because why at this point.
That's hilarious.
So Joker has converts who contain, quote, every subscriber to every lunatic television cult religion, as well as Gotham's mushrooming criminal element. They're also passing out Joker masks. So again, we have Joker followers who wear Joker masks. Sounds very familiar to the 2019 Joker movie.
Man, what an awesome way to get henchmen
Yeah.
in a movie, dude. Like in a very realistic movie. Just amazing.
Yeah. So we got some of that DNA here. We already got him shooting somebody on the air. We've got these followers of the masks.
Mm-hmm.
So Bruce takes a mask and examines it and finds that they're not just masks to show Joker's face. They're gas masks. So everyone's lined up on the street, monitored by the Joker police, who are dressed in these like candy-striped clown clothes with squirting flowers on the lapels. And people are all there to see the Joker to have his big speech to be the mayor. We have this concept art here that's part of the thumbnail of the Joker making his speech in front of his big poster of his face, and people are throwing up signs of his face on it because he has his followers in this. And another part that's also foreshadowing of the movies is that Bruce sees that there is a parade of floats coming in various shapes and sizes. So the Gotham parade that we saw at the end of Batman 89 actually has its origins in this treatment. So he knows at least one of the floats has the, quote, grimacing gas, and he calls up Commissioner Gordon and brings up that anyone not wearing the Joker mask, because the Joker mask is the gas mask, anybody who's wearing that will be killed. And so Joker's trying to guarantee his victory and rig this election by killing everybody who doesn't actually wear a mask and vote for him. So Bruce decides he's got to fight the Joker, but not as Batman, but as Bruce Wayne. So, this is a very interesting part of this, is he decides to take up after his father. And he goes on TV and gives a speech challenging voters to resist and vote against the Joker and vote against crime and corruption, which I think is, it's basically Bruce Wayne stepping up to the plate in the public eye, not just being a tool that Batman uses so that people don't know that he's Batman. The image that we have here, funny enough, is from Zero Year, written decades later, where Bruce goes on TV to encourage Gothamites to fight against the corruption of the Red Hood gang, which contains the future Joker. So very similar on this. Again, so much foreshadowing of stuff that'll come later. So Bruce makes this big speech, then changes into Batman as Commissioner Gordon and the police infiltrate the parade. The Joker is in his headquarters. Again, another image of the creepy Joker with the mask covering his eyes. You just see the smile we have here. So Joker finds out that Bruce Wayne is sweeping the polls, and he's pissed because he's losing this election. So as a reaction to losing the election, he shoots the messenger, literally, and destroys his own headquarters.
Oh, man.
Basically throws a tantrum. So Joker then passes by all his floats, reaching one that has a 10-story high teddy bear. And that gives Batman the clue that that's the one with the grimacing gas. And Batman has the very Batman-like line of, "Hey, chalk face."
That's, yeah. I need a rewrite on that one.
Maybe. Yeah, we need a rewrite on this Homeward Bound.
We already lost Jack. You know what I mean?
So
I'm going to lose everybody on that one.
Here's some concept art of Joker versus Batman that we have here. Very rare. It's on the cover of the Danny Elfman and Tim Burton 25th anniversary music box collection.
Wow, what a deep cut.
Yeah, really had to dig deep in this one. But it's them on the street, and I figured this is the concept art for this scene. So Joker and Batman fight it out at the parade. Joker pulls out a gun, but Batman throws a battering at him. Classic shit. Joker sends his men after him, but Batman fights them all off, and they let the teddy bear balloon float off. So in this next image that we see here from the concept art, we see the teddy bear balloon that it looks like Tim Burton did in pastels that we've got here. And Joker decides to escape by hitching a ride on the balloon, basically holding on to the lines that are part of it. And so Batman leaps up to follow suit, and we see this in this image here of two figures on that, one being Batman and the other being Joker. When we covered this in the concept art, I think at the time I thought it was Batman and Robin, but I think it was Zach who said it was probably Joker, and it turns out Zach was right.
Oh, wow.
So we got Joker being chased by Batman on here, and they're floating on this balloon over Gotham. And Joker pulls out a gun and starts trying to shoot at Batman, and Batman's swinging on the balloon. This seems like a very cool action sequence.
It would have been cool, yeah, for sure.
And they float above the Gotham City Natural History Museum. Here's the museum. And Batman decides he to throw a grenade at the balloon and drop off to land on the roof. So the balloon explodes too far away from the crowd for the gas to cause any damage, and both Joker and Batman crash into the museum. And now we have the museum confrontation, like in the '89 movie, except it's much, much longer than just Batman swooping down and saving Vicky Vale. And also, like in Batman and Robin, the museum has a giant dinosaur in it.
Nice.
Yes. So the giant brontosaurus skeleton.
That's cool.
So Joker leaps up on Batman and puts a gun to his head. But then there is, quote, the dull sensation of tiny fluttering as if heralding the entrance of a small bird. So Joker hears a laugh, and perched atop the giant brontosaurus skeleton is, quote, a flash of red and green, a devilish mask. It's Robin.
Devilish mask. So they would have tried to make Robin kind of scary, maybe.
It sounds like it, right? Like it's almost like they're describing the sound of the bird flapping and stuff like that. It's almost like Batman's things are bats, Robin's stuff are birds, that type of thing. And him kind of being scary too, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. So Batman takes advantage of this distraction. He chops the gun out of Joker's hand and sends Joker into the brontosaurus skeleton. And then, unfortunately, we have a page missing in the treatment.
Wow.
Sorry, it happens. But page 39 is missing.
There was some real Bob Kane shit on that page. They had to take it out. It was incriminating.
Julie Hickson, let us know what we missed on this.
It's probably just got fucking coffee and cigarette stains on it or some
probably.
shit.
But I'm going to guess that there's an action sequence of Batman and Robin versus Joker.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't have to be the world's greatest detective to figure that out. in terms of what
Context clues.
But Joker goes into a dark room, and Batman uses infrared vision to go in.
Nice.
So we have the image here of Batman in sort of the night vision goggles in the 1939 comics, as well as Ben Affleck's Batman wearing the goggles. But I was also thinking about the lenses in The Dark Knight, where he's trying to find Heath Ledger's Joker, and then Joker surprises him and stuff. That kind of is what happens here, actually, in the treatment. So Joker surprises him, they fight. And Batman brings Joker to the ground, and it says here, Batman puts a gun to Joker's head.
Whoa.
So
that ain't right.
Yeah. He puts the gun to his head, asking him who ordered him to kill Thomas and Martha Wayne. And Joker just laughs and confirms it was Rupert Thorne, which means, quote, the joke's on you, Bruce. I killed the man that killed your parents.
Okay.
I mean, technically Joker killed his parents, but whatever. And he brings up that Batman can't kill him without becoming like him. Basically sounding out what the theme is on this. And Robin is watching as Batman is tempted to pull the trigger. But it's Jim Gordon who puts a hand on his shoulder and pulls him from the brink, telling him that he's done his job. And now, basically justice winning out from vengeance. Classic Batman shit, classic comic book stuff. But this is very foreshadowing of comics later on. Batman would put a gun to Alexander Luthor's head in the Infinite Crisis comic, and Gordon would talk Batman out of killing Joker in Hush. So
Okay,
this is
yeah.
all familiar territory for us in 2022. But in 1985, I'm sure that was kind of game-changing, especially Batman putting the gun to Joker's head. But to be fair, in this treatment, Batman's no-kill rule is intact in this.
It's intact, right? Yeah, that is true. But it's just like, it feels like the tone's all over the place because you got him fucking flying on goddamn Christmas trees in the beginning, and then he pointing a gun to his goddamn head in the end.
Yeah.
It's just, it's kind of nuts. I mean, Burton would have figured some way to do it, I guess, but yeah, it's interesting, you know. But I do kind of like it sometimes whenever when the tone's a little bit off or like inconsistent, because I don't know, it shakes it up a little bit. You don't see that much.
It
like
shakes it up to the point where you're like, oh, I wasn't expecting this. And that makes it that more memorable.
Yeah, for sure.
So Joker's handcuffed, and he indicates that he will keep Batman's secret because he actually knows that Bruce Wayne is Batman in this. I don't know how he figured it out. Probably because, never mind. He figured it out because Batman just flat out asked who killed his parents. So that's what it is.
That's probably what it is, yeah.
But he brings up he'll keep Batman's secret. He's not going to tell anybody that Bruce Wayne is Batman because he still wants to have, quote, a playmate, which I think is perfect. I think that's great.
Yeah, for sure.
So Gordon says, the Gotham City thanks you, Batman, and whoever the hell you are, as he looks at Robin. That's not
Put some pants on, goddammit.
that's just what I figured Gordon would say, because he doesn't know who the hell this kid is.
I just want everybody to know I did not dress this kid.
He dressed himself.
He dressed himself. This is green and yellow and fucking booty shorts. I'm out.
So they go off and they leave the museum, and the end is Bruce, Dick, Alfred, and Silver St. Cloud celebrating Christmas, and they're around the tree and opening presents. We have fan art here by Aiko Chan.
Aiko. I always go Aiko. Aiko.
It's
okay.
Chan. And instead of Selena, it's Silver St. Cloud because Dan photoshopped her hair to be silver.
Oh, nice.
So we have here, Silver notes that there's one more gift, and Bruce finds that under the Christmas tree is something bright, purple, and green. A toy Jack-in-the-Box. And we hear the laughter of the Joker as we fade out, indicating that the Joker will return.
Wow,
And
so it'd be
that's
for
the
2 movies.
Yep. As if there wasn't enough that happened in this one. We had the origin of Batman. We have the origin of Robin. We have Joker doing a million different things. Gordon kind of figuring out that Bruce Wayne is Batman. They're like, there's a lot going on here.
I mean, whenever The Dark Knight was before it came out, I remember a friend and I were talking like, what if the Joker was the villain for the next one too, man?
Yeah.
I remember having those conversations.
So that's could have been what we gotten if they went with the Hickson treatment. But again, this is just them fleshing out ideas, and I think overall, right, there's a lot of great kernels of stuff. I really like the origin, divorcing itself from the Mr. Softy stuff, because that's pretty surreal and weird. But the stuff, the lead up to it, I think is pretty solid. Some of the characterization in this is kind of missing from the final films, and I wish it was kind of there, because they nailed certain aspects of this. I really like what happened with Gordon as well.
Right. It's cool. It's just all over the place, like I said, tonally, but again, I mean, it's like a 30-page treatment. This would have been, I mean, obviously that's what happened. It was rewritten to hell and back. So, I mean, what from this made it all the way to 89?
Parade floats.
The parade floats made it all the way. That's
Parade
true.
floats made it all the way. The mayor stuff obviously influences the Penguin in Batman Returns.
Mm-hmm.
The shot of the two men stalking the Wayne parents, I think that's interesting that's in here and makes it into the final movie. I don't know if that was a conscious choice or an image that he really wanted to have in there, but it is a similarity between the two. And then, of course, you've got Joker being the gunman.
I think there's something. Yeah, it's true. There's something. How can I say it? Like, it's hard to find what exactly the character arc is in Batman '89.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So this one actually does have as a struggle for Batman's character at the end. You know, to kill or not to kill. So like a moral decision. Like, so I mean that actually is stronger in some ways than what we've finally got. Although, like Batman '89 is kind of playful up until the very end. Like if he was ended with him screaming with a gun pointing at somebody's head, it's not really playful anymore, right? So,
there's like
a tone
rewritten third acts for this movie.
Yeah,
even leading up to the scripts from Sam Hamm and Warren Scarron. So we could have gotten a whole bunch of stuff in different ways. And there's stuff in here that I definitely like, and other stuff where I'm like, that would have been too much back then.
Yeah. It's interesting though. I mean, we've definitely read worse.
Yeah, we have.
Yeah, much worse.
I would say if it wasn't Tim Burton who was reading these comics, it was definitely Julie Hickson doing her research, because we have so many callbacks to different old comics. That were not directly cited by Michael Uslan in this. So somebody did their research. Maybe it was Hickson doing all the research and stuff, and Burton didn't read it in the comics, but still, we know that Burton had to have read some part of it in order to give the approval or have his name on it, or to present this treatment to Warner Brothers, or even just have his quote on the cover of the deluxe edition of The Killing Joke.
It's hard to imagine him not reading it, because, like we've said many times, kind of dark and macabre with a little bit of a sense of humor. That's exactly what Batman comics are. Yeah. Especially the humor part, more so in certain eras, right? But it's all there. So it's like when he was going to do Superman, that felt kind of out of character for him, right? But Batman kind of really in character for for him to be into that character and him to read those kind of comics. So, it's just some shit he said to piss off Kevin Smith.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. So, in the meantime, if you liked this episode, check out our friends at Neuverse Creative. We kind of teamed up this week where we are releasing this episode, but they're releasing an audio drama adaptation of the script treatment.
Oh,
so
nice.
Check that out. It's called Batman 85. So that's Neuverse Creative. We'll have the link in our show notes and stuff. But they have loads more there. They've done adaptations of script that we've covered. So the Batman Dark Knight script, where it was George Clooney versus Man-Bat. They've done an audio drama version of that. The Batman versus Superman script for Wolfgang Peterson. They've done that. And then they've done a bunch of the Superman scripts that we haven't covered yet, like Superman Lives and Superman Flyby. So definitely check those guys out.
That's cool.
Over there for our fans. And they're also promoting us on their audio drama. So it's kind of a cross-promotion thing.
That's cool.
To pay tribute to this treatment that's kind of been overlooked.
And their new verse is NEU verse, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Neuverse Creative. So, thanks for that. And that is superhero stuff you should know. All right, big thanks to our research assistant, Dan, for the visuals on this, as well as basically we have this post-credit sequence right here. So it is the month of Batman Returns' anniversary, and we have our friends at Daily Batman Anthology who pointed out that we have this concept art of the Penguin's duck that's very different from what we got in the movie. Let's have a closer look here. It had wings that expanded, and it looks like it was originally meant to fly and change expressions.
It's got thrusters.
Yeah. It has these angry expressions on the right, and this may have been for when they were supposed to have the roller coaster fight between Batman and Penguin.
I would have loved this toy, dude.
Stuff. Oh yeah, too. It's the expression changes and stuff, and the wings
so
pop out.
Sick, dude.
Yeah. So that would have been cool. And we have another look here where apparently this is used in the. This was used at Six Flags.
Oh shit.
Yeah,
that's cool.
This was used at Six Flags for. This is sort of the beginning leading up to their Batman Returns ride. So that's where this image comes from. So big thanks to Daily Batman Anthology for that image, and I thought I would share that since we're sort of gradually celebrating the Batman Returns anniversary too.
It's coming.
Yeah. So moving on then to fan comments. What we got here is from Twitter user Michael Coggin Carr saying, Superhouse Pod, listening to your episode on Batman and Robin script, and 100% it's my number one guilty pleasure.
Nice.
Batman and Robin fans are coming out. So if you're a Batman and Robin fan, definitely check out our episode. Even if you're not, please check out that episode, because
just everybody,
because it's got a lot of stuff that didn't make it into the movie that a lot of people will find interesting, even if you hate the movie.
That episode actually syncs up to Homeward Bound 2. you turn down the movie's volume, you listen to that podcast. It just works, guys. Just trust me on this.
Yes, we've tried this out.
Yeah.
Next is from Cosmic 8 Starlight Cafe. So this is a comment on the ranking Gotham cities in live action film and TV, saying, guys, I watch all the episodes and love the Doctor Strange deep dive. I often listen to these while at work, so I can't always comment. That's okay. I know you guys said you probably won't revisit Doctor Strange, but maybe y'all could at least do a shorter dive into Dr. Mordred and its connections to Doctor Strange. Probably not, but I appreciate the Doctor Strange content nonetheless. Thanks for all that you guys do and keep it up. I mean, I haven't seen Dr. Mordred yet, but I think we're down to have some sort of deep dive on that, or at least watch it.
I think it might be on Prime, but I don't know why I think that, but I think so. I don't know. Anyway, I'll look it up later.
Be available on Prime.
Seems like it'd be on Prime, right? I don't know why. It just has that vibe.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd be interested in seeing it, and I've heard it's like not bad. It's for what it is.
Yeah. We'll check it out. We'll let you know. Cosmic 8. But thank you for that.
Thank you.
Last one is from Slight Rebellion off Madison. This is a long comment on the Batman James Bond Connections episode. So, to Ben and Andrew, great job as always, gentlemen. As a big Bond fan, this was a nice addition to the show. Side note to Andrew, if you ever watch the older Bond films, check out License to Kill, definitely an underrated Bond film, the precursor to Craig's Bond films. That's the one with Timothy Dalton where they do the thing where the plane gets inverted that probably inspired...
Gets inverted? Top Gun, bro.
I knew that was going to come up, considering what just came out.
Oh, man. It
you need
was
the
so
sunglasses,
good.
too, and smile afterwards.
Dude, I love Top Gun, too, man. That was a fucking great movie.
I
Anyway...
have not seen it yet.
All right, anyway, so if anybody doesn't know, like, I haven't seen any of the older Bond films. Like, I've seen the ones that have come out in the theater, well, a lot of them, since the Pierce Brosnan ones, but I just didn't grow up with Bond. It's just not like, I don't want, how much hate do I want? I'm not a huge fan of John Wick and James Bond too much, or even Mad Max. Reason being, like with comic book shit, I know exactly who, Bruce Wayne is, Peter Parker is. There's always some care given into their backstory and their character and their development. On top of that, with the spectacle and all that, right? But like, I don't know. I just feel like I don't know who John Wick is. I don't know who James Bond is. I've heard, I've seen like the later Mad Max movies, but I've never seen the first one, The Road Warrior. I've heard that there's a backstory there. They just never go back to it.
Yeah, the first one is the Mad Max movie, and then Road Warrior is kind of for everything else.
Yeah, where it's like, just feels they're cool stunts. Like Fury Road has incredible stunts, but I don't know, man. It's just like in Top Gun 2, y'all. I fucking know exactly who Pete is, and all the emotional beats are perfect for me anyway. So anyway, I'm not trying to piss everybody off here, man. And if it's your thing, it's Ben loves Bond, so we're just not going to agree on everything.
Yeah, which is fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, License to Kill is Slight Rebellion's recommendation here. Also adds, just to go down the rabbit hole for Batman and On Her Majesty's Secret Service, Ra's al Ghul has strong parallels to another character in the film. We did a deep dive into the On Her Majesty's Secret Service as well for the Patreon.
I did watch that for the show.
Yeah. So Draco, the head of an international crime syndicate, later somewhat Bond ally, and the father of Tracy, Bond's bride to be in the film. Draco suggests early on Bond marry Tracy by stating, quote, "She needs a man to dominate her." Amazing the things you could say back in the 60s. That's true. We talked about that in the Patreon episode as well, about the...
Dude, so much shit, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I'm not sure if Denny O'Neil was consciously or subconsciously influenced by the film of On Her Majesty's Secret Service, but I remember an interview where Neil Adams stated editor Julius Schwartz gave him the name Ra's al Ghul and told him to figure out the rest. Adams stated he based Ra's look on Jack Palance, also the facial model for Darkseid and Marvel's Dracula and Tomb of Dracula. Now, Jack Palance is also known for us Batman '89 fans as Carl Grissom, as the Joker's boss. Slight Rebellion adds, but I've read that Ra's look might be inspired by actor Christopher Lee in the 60s film The Face of Dr. Fu Manchu.
This sounds right to me. Keep going, sorry.
Interesting note, Neil Adams stated he drew Batman's flowing cape based on the way Christopher Lee moved his cape when he played Dracula. Yeah, we covered that in the Batman vs. Dracula dive. Christopher Lee, of course, would play the Bond villain Scaramanga in The Man with the Golden Gun.
Nice.
So I do have here the interview where Neil Adams brings up that he's kind of modeled off of Jack Palance. He said, quote, "He looks sort of like Jack Palance if you shaved his head back a bit."
Oh, yeah, this is true. He does look like him.
He says that, and the image I have here is Jack Palance as Dracula, a few years after Ra's al Ghul was created, but that's kind of the closest equivalent I could find to a Ra's al Ghul looking Jack Palance on that. But Christopher Lee, I could see Christopher Lee being somewhat of an influence, because again, like, we're looking at a period of time where Christopher Lee was, really well known to be villains. And I just read about this too. Andrea Romano tried to get Christopher Lee to voice Ra's al Ghul for BTAS.
Oh, wow.
It did not work out. We got David Warner, who was perfect anyway. But just imagine just the prestige of getting
That would have been cool.
Yeah. So apparently it didn't work out due to the fact that he's in London, and they just couldn't work out the scheduling in terms of having him come over. And I guess this is the 90s, so you couldn't really do it over Zoom.
Christopher Lee was too busy recording his metal albums. Yeah, do you know about that? He fucking records his own fucking metal albums.
I've heard it, yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Incredible, dude. Incredible.
Yeah. So thank you, Slight Rebellion, for all this on the extra tidbits. Some stuff that we might have shared already, but if not, then we've shared it now, and people who didn't get to hear it the first time can check out those episodes. So thank you for that.
Indeed.
On to the shout-outs.
Oh, man, you know how it goes. You know what I'm saying, dudes and dudettes? And everybody in between. So we want to thank Halsey C., Maurice D., Jonathan, Robert H., R.D., Decade VV, Josh M., Benjamin V., Chris F., and everybody else up on the board here. And moving on from that, we want you to go to patreon.com/superherostuffpod. We have the $1, $5, and $10 tier. $1 gets you that their shout out on and gets you on the board. And then $5 tier gets you the whole other show. This show you're listening to right now or watching is every Monday for free. And then Patreon show is every Friday, $5. Cancel anytime. Binge the whole thing if you want. And then there's a lot of episodes on there at this point. Well over 100, I think. We're getting close to 200 probably. So there's that. And then $10 tier gets you the monthly live show, which is you can join us on a Zoom-like call. And we have a topic at hand, and we just kind of shoot the shit all together as well. And just like if you are part of other Patreons, if you're part of the $10 tier, for example, you get everything below it. $5 tier, you get the $1 tier benefits. So there's that. And then we have our merch at superhousepod.redbubble.com and superherostuffpod.threadless.com. Ben Manzacula and Indeed Wizard mugs, shirts, shower curtains, and all the rest. Artwork by Stefan Santa Cruz. And send us some audio, please. I feel an absolute paucity of audio lately from the from listeners. So superhousepodcast@gmail.com. Send us something, please. I'm Thunderwolf Drew on Instagram and Twitter. Thunderwolf lives on YouTube. AminoRecon.com. ThunderwolfDrew.com is my portfolio. And then AminoRecon.com. It's AMANORECON.com. It's an original R-rated Stranger Things meets Power Rangers. And that's more on that later, but we have a teaser out at AminoRecon.com. It's 17 seconds. This poster artwork by Zach. And that's it for me, Ben.
Shout out to Comic Capital on Instagram for your support, as well as the Everything Entertainment Club on Clubhouse. You can follow us on social media on Twitter at SuperhousePod, Instagram, Superhero Stuff Pod, TikTok, Superhero Stuff Pod, Vero, Superhero Stuff Pod. My website is benwanwriter.com, where you can read different scripts, like my Gotham script, Gotham Vampire, where young Bruce faces off against the Mad Monk, or my spec script for Elementary called The Death of Sherlock Holmes, a modern update on the classic story, The Adventure of the Dying Detective, or Curb Your Enthusiasm, Disneyland, the Curb Your Enthusiasm episode they could never make, where Larry David goes to Disneyland, then regenerates into being Mr. Mixias Pitalik.
Oh,
No,
really?
I wish.
That would be awesome, dude.
I wish.
I
should've
loved
put that
that. Was the best Superman movie rumor of all time. Larry David is going to be Mr. Mixia-Spitalik.
It's pretty good.
Oh man, yeah, it would be
My
great.
YouTube channel is in the description below, where you can also check out my project Doctor Who: The Ronin of Time, an audio drama I write, narrate, and edit, where the Eighth Doctor meets Miyamoto Musashi in ancient Japan. Cosmic Starlight Cafe left a great comment for me on it. If there are any other Eighth Doctor fans, especially of the Big Finish audios, this is for you. My personal Instagram is Ben1 Ryder. My son's Instagram, my cat, the other cat, is Alfie Pennyworth Cat on Instagram.
He has a name.
He has a name. It's Alfie. I only say it at the end of every episode.
We're just kidding, by the way. Just joking. Thank you
Yes.
for the comment.
Yes, thank you. And then if you have an Alfie or a Peanut or any cat at all, then you can get the Whisker Box, the only cat box for the crazy cat lady and gent. And if you don't have a cat, then that's okay too. Because if you have a dog, you can get the Bark Box, y'all. Give your dog exactly what they want with the Bark Box. We have a promo link where you can get the first month off free, valued at $35. You can get that promo link in the description or the show notes or the superherostuffpod.com/shop page that we have for that stuff. We have basically our eBay page, Amazon affiliate links, BarkBox, Whisper of Days for your hiney, all that type of stuff. All at superherostuffpod.com/shop. And don't forget about Manscaped. Make your Johnson look bigger with Manscaped by shaving the hair around your balls and dick at promo code Johnson's Ballsack at manscaped.com. You heard us in the middle, or you skipped the middle, and now we're plaguing you with this at the end, but it would help us out as well as help you out in the bedroom.
If you could make your dick at least seem bigger, wouldn't you give your dick the chance?
We should have said that we would make it Burt Ward size.
Yeah.
We're the only podcast that can say that.
If you wanted to at least get close to that majesty that is Burt Ward's cock, please, Johnson's Ballsack.
We need to put that into the next ad read.
Oh man, it does. Can we put a celebrity's name in the ad read though? The official ad read. He'd be like, guys, I sell dog food here. I don't do this Manscaped bullshit. We got a cease and desist from his ass.
Bert, we were very complimentary on this.
We're talking. Yeah, he wouldn't care.
This is not defamation.
This is the exact opposite, actually. We're talking about some other guy named Burt Ward, by the way. That's fucking not even that other guy. You know what I'm saying? Just to be legally safe here, guys. So there could be a lot of guys named Burt Ward with big ass dicks. So,
yes.
But anyway, yeah. Hopefully that's all right, everybody. Anyway, yeah, Manscaped. Check it out.
Yes. Check it out. Promo code Johnson's Ballsack at manscaped.com. Get 20% off plus free shipping. Johnson's Ballsack at manscaped.com. That sounds like an email address. The promo code is Johnson's Ballsack at manscaped.com.
Yes, the promo code is Johnson's Ballsack. Just that.
Yes.
No space.
Yes.
No apostrophe.
Yes.
I don't think it's case sensitive, but anyway,
I don't think so.
It's the checkout code. Johnson's Ballsack is the checkout code.
Yes.
So
Yeah. Said Johnson's Ballsack enough.
Never enough. You can never really say it enough. But anyway, I think we want you to do us a favor.
Johnson's Ballsack. Wait, sorry.
Shave Johnson's Ballsack.
Shave Johnson's Ballsack. And we want you to tell all your friends about it.